Good evening, viewers. Once again, sorry about the interruption that we had in our earlier live broadcasts. Right, we are back again with Mr. Stole, just to hear him. Right, Mr. Stole, I know our viewers were listening to you earlier on. I wanted us to delve into the story of 2030. What is your view about 2030? What is your party going to do? Are you in agreement with 2030? What is your stance as a political party? Can you put us into confidence? What is your party's position?
Okay. Now year 2030 takagara takabuda pachena kuti hakuna chinonzi 2030. Reason ndichitaura kudai, I spoke nezuro ndichitaura kuti power neZANU PF vakaripiwa neArmy. Army yakauya paZBC, the National Broadcasting Corporation, ikati nekuda kwekuti mutungamiriri wenyika akomberedzwa nematsotsi, tava kumbotora simba rezvematongerwe enyika. Izvozvo zviri parecord. General Sibusiso Moyo is the one who did that announcement. Vakati business renyika will go as normal. Therefore, atina kuzoona Army chidzoka pa National Broadcasting Corporation ichiti taakudzosa simba mu the civilian rule. But what we only saw ndezvokuti zvinhu zvakangotanga kungofambiswa as normal. ZANU PF yakapiwa mukana. Mr. Mnangagwa, President Mnangagwa, vari munhu akaitwa entrusted with the power neArmy kuti vave the face of the presidency of Zimbabwe. Therefore, one of the promises he did, vachi assume the office, vakati he is going to abide to the constitution. And izvozvo takazvibata nekuti dambudziko ratakaita seZimbabwe is to have one president for the longest time. Zimbabwe has got a lot of people who are talented. Therefore, vachipedzisa mukana wakanga watorerwa President Mugabe, vakaenda kuma elections 2018. Vaenda kuma elections 2018, we had disputed elections dzanga dzisine a clear understanding yekuwina kweruling party. Kukaendeswana kumatare. Vasvika kumatare, vakasvika vakapikisana ikoko, pakatambwa matambirwa zvakaitwa, business ikazongoenderera mberi, vakatonga 5 years dzekupiwa neconstitutional court. Vana veZimbabwe vakarespecta a ruling of the judiciary. Zvatiri kutaura kuti aiwa ichocho chinhu chakanaka nekuti vanhu vedu vari disciplined. Tobva tauya 2023, we had again rejected results. Nekuda kwokuti vana veZimbabwe is a divided country. Vazhinji havachade the ruling party, including the president. Vamwe vari kudawo the ruling party, including the president. But we are a nation in a two factions dzevanhu. Pakaita futi the rejection of the results, even though this now zokondestwa. Then the nekuda kwediscipline yevana veZimbabwe, vakangoti ngavangotonga zvavo, toona kuti chii chavanobuda nacho. Therefore, kutonga ikoko kwekupiwa respect nevana veZimbabwe because they are disciplined must not be abused. He cannot talk of the 2030 while we are in a state of dispute in terms of those elections. Therefore, this 2030 is not going to happen. It is not going to happen unless it is coupled with the massive human rights abuse and also a brutalizing of the citizens. Then it is going to prevail by force. But clearly so, our position as the Zimbabwe Independent Movement, we are saying no to the Constitution amendment, no to this 2030. But instead of focusing on extending these terms, they must focus to the betrayed promises of the manifesto, including that free education, yakataurwa 2018, free education yakakambeneswa zvakare muna 2023. Zvese izvozvo hazvina kuitwa. Let ZANU-PF start focusing on delivery on their promises dziri pamanifesto yavo. So isusu position tiri kuti no to this 2030.
All right. That being said, what are you going to do in order to stop the 2030? What is your plan of action? That's what many people, because as you can see, there is a leadership vacuum in Zimbabwe. If you say there is no 2030, what are you going to do to stop this 2030 as a party? What are you planning to do? What are your plans of action? Because people want to know, if you say no to 2030, what are you going to do? Because also at the same time, we have heard that the president has said he's not interested in 2030. He last address on this issue, he said he's not interested in 2030. But we are hearing part about nezvazvo. So he will say, I've not said I'm accepting 2030. What are you going to do about the president not publicly announcing that he's accepted 2030, and also the issue of your plan of action?
Our plan of action is going to be a hidden card. But ndikuda kudzoka pa this conversation. The statement yatinayo kuna President Mnangagwa ndekuti he is a constitutionalist, and we want to respect him as a man who means his words. I spoke yesterday to say the man must come up and call his people to order, unless he is part of it, because we have known ZANU-PF of indicating right and turning left, and this time is not going to work. We are promising, as the new political party, which is progress oriented, very strict in full counting of their progress in terms of service delivery to our people. We are going to mark them after the end of 5 years on what did they deliver based on what they have promised. But if we are talking of this 2030, it is not going to happen. I can tell you that the people has got constitutional mandate and constitutionally directed with the boundaries of the legal permission to actually stop this thing. And it is going to happen. We have come now as the Zimbabwe independent movement. We are going to use the masses and their rights to stop this thing. ZANU-PF can never tell us about this 2030. We don't want to hear about this thing, because this thing is causing a confusion. I heard a question to someone from the party of ZANU-PF yesterday saying, I told him that why president is not coming out to call these people to order. And I was given an excuse to say the man is busy doing the national duties. 2030 mantra is a fictional utterance which is coming from the people who are trying to push the personal agenda. Therefore, he cannot come out from doing the national duties into resolving the party problems, because ZANU-PF is a party with the structures and the people who are principled. It is being addressed underground. I challenged that person to tell him that a private invitation was done to the private farm of the president, and all the MPs were invited there. I went on asking that the president was having the full capacity and an upper hand on a private business, because according to media, it said president called these people to show them his personal project which he is doing so that they can benchmark, which means he was out of the national duty. 2030 mantra was a song at the farm, and he did not call it to order again, and he ran away. We are saying this 2030 must never happen, and it is not going to happen. If ZANU-PF wants to remain with an integrity which they have, they must allow the people to express themselves. This thing is going to be fought constitutionally so, and it is going to be fought in the boundaries of the legal in the boundaries of the legal institutions. And we are going to demand that they respect our constitution, because apart from them benefiting on the extension of the power of rule, it is going to affect the confidence of investments. Because if they can change the constitution simply because they want to extend their power, which means they can change the policies of the trade policies which is running the country at any time they deem necessary. So it's not about them being in power we are focused on here. We are too much focused on the compromisation of the confidence over the people whom we want to trade with. So this 2030 is going to affect more than the way they think.
All right. Coming back to the issue of 2030, or you were saying that you are a different party. But what we have seen in 2023, out of 60 political rallies of Triple C, more than 30 of the rallies were banned. They did not get the permission from MOPA. What are you going to do? We know that ZANU-PF will have a hand in. If you want to say we want to march against this constitution, they are not going to provide that. They are not. The police will simply say we don't have capacity. What are you going to do about that? Because the challenge that people have right now is, one, ZANU-PF will say you guys, because they according to Mnyaradzi Machacha, they said they are going to the parliament, and when they go to the parliament they are going to change, which in the earlier interview that I had with Professor Maduku, he said that it's not possible. But my issue is, as a party, you are talking about protest, you are talking about using legal provisions in the constitution. We know that there are legal provisions in the constitution which have freedom of assembly. But in the freedom of assembly, we saw Jameson Timber and the 78 others. They were jailed for more than 3 months for trying to assemble themselves, and they were caught by the law of MOPA. How are you going to galvanize support? How are you going to make something that is impactful, that you make ZANU-PF to not amend the constitution? How are you planning on doing that?
You know, Mkoma Jethro, you need to understand one thing. As we are here now, some of these bridges are going to be crossed when we are there. But there's one thing I want to tell you, that in the political matrix of our country, there was something which was short: political education to our people. You know, we have taken our masses for granted. The existence of the political parties, including ZANU-PF, they were too much focused in recruitment, and they were too much focused in bringing people to the tent. But they have been selfish with the political information into equipping those people to understand what really belongs to them and what really politics means for them. And that on its own, as the Zimbabwe independent movement, we have managed to tackle that without having a flag on top of a mountain. We have deployed a lot of people, the provincial chairs in the provinces. We have got constituents, shadow MPs who are working together to make sure they are galvanizing people and making them understand their rights and understand what belongs to them and what politics means to them. The reason why we are doing that, it is because we are a progress-oriented political party which is meant for progress. One, we need to rectify the issue of political sabotage and the political drive which is reinforced by economic sabotage and the suffering of the masses. So our people will be speaking the very same language with us because we have defined ourselves to them. We are demonstrating what it means to be a Zimbabwean to them. We are showing them what it means to fight for what belongs to them. The only thing, we are not doing it on a podium of being a celebrity kind of people. We are not doing that. Our people understand what we are talking. So whatever we are saying, it is enshrined into that constitution. ZANU-PF is going to be in a corner very soon, and you will see for the first time, you will ever see that if they can not have the capacity of the police, who is going to keep the peace for our people demonstrating for their rights, we are going to demand how many people can they manage, and those people will be demonstrating straight from the police station and straight from the parliament. Our people are going to demand what belongs to them, and this is not a joke. We are telling the truth. ZANU-PF is running in a borrowed time, as I told you that. We are taking it from the fact that they were entrusted by the army. So if they want to become a problem, the army must also come and assist us, if that is the necessity. If they really mean that the Zimbabweans are made to enjoy what belongs to them, unless if it is a thievery gangster state which is actually running to empower a certain number of people, they need to show us who are they exactly, and we will change the gears as according to what is there. But as of now, we are dealing with them in the boundaries of the constitution and making that the constituents which is following us understands what we are talking.
All right. Mr. Stole speaking to us here on JCTV Africa on the issue of 2030, which is topical today. And I understand that we are going to have another conversation with you pertaining your policies and how you are going to galvanize support throughout Zimbabwe. But I want you to maybe in the few minutes that are left, what is your message and how can people get in touch with you if they want to be part of your political party and they want to participate in your programs that you are doing? What are your structures that are set up inside and outside Zimbabwe?
Okay, thank you so much. Let me just give a foundational statement that, as I have said, that the Zimbabwe independent movement is a progressive reformist party. We are too much focused into supervising the progress, and we are working towards effecting a regime. We are working on effecting an economic revolution. The economic revolution is necessary because we have seen that the revolution itself was betrayed. As I said earlier before, that the assuming of the political power by the first generation which started this did not finish the land because the political power was taken with a compromised negotiation of the economic power. Therefore, political power without economic control is failing to serve our masses. Instead, it is supporting It is supporting the existence of the system, that system which is promoting the white supremacy in the form of a black supremacy, because it was an inherited system. So we are against that. Our first enemy as the Zimbabwe independent movement, it is that system. And we are coming to fight that system. And anyone who is going to stand in the way to defend that system, which has proven for the past 40 years that our people can never be economically emancipated by this system. And then we come and say, let this system fall. And he comes to defend. He is also an enemy. So we are going to make sure that as a party, we are there on the ground, as we are there on the provincial levels, right throughout the national footprint. So as the political party like that, everyone who wants to join us, we are there. I will give you now the contacts to share the contacts on the comment section. But as for now, they can take +2761 921 4399 only for WhatsApp, because the other one for direct line is meant to be given on the inbox. So for now, they can come there, +2761 921 4399. That is our contact sender, and we will distribute anyone who comes there to the relevant department. As for the structure, we are a well-structured party. We have got our president, we have got 2 VPs, we have got Secretary General, we have got the national chair, we have got the departmental leaders, legal department, we have got our own security department and their heads, and we also have our provincial leaders who are already in the province, and we have got the shadow MPs who are working parallel to the MPs who are there. But what we are doing is to supervise the progress, because we are so much focused on the progress. That is why we are saying it is not going to work. The intimidation is not going to work, because we need the country to go into progress. We understand that the existence of the opposition, it must force the one who is in the ruling, who has been entrusted by the people of Zimbabwe, by selling his manifesto, making sure that he is delivering. And by not delivering, I'm telling you, we are going to start taking the wards, we are going to start taking the provinces, we are going to start taking the wards, we are going to start taking the constituencies, and until we take the central government, because this is the high time our people are going to participate in the political matrix with clear understanding for what it means for them. So that explanation of opening their eyes to see what does it mean to play, and what is the meaning of your vote, what are you saying by casting a vote, it is going to change the whole status quo in the political matrix of the country. I promise you that there is going to be a change for the first time in the country.
Right. Before I let you go, there is a comment that was given by someone. I don't know if you heard that audio, where Vanga Wachiti Imimi, you are just a de facto ZANU-PF, you are part of ZANU-PF. We cannot trust you. What are you going to say about that? Because people are saying we don't trust these emerging political parties. They are just there to split the vote of the opposition, and at the end of the day, they will go back and get paid by ZANU-PF. Can you respond to that?
I told you one of the problems we are having in the country is having the generation which does not know the history. We are having access of the history in all possible means. As I am telling you that the very same person, I'm going to give him a task. He must go and take the ZAPU Constitution and the manifesto for 1961. Go and take the manifesto for ZANU for 1961 again in their manifesto. Come and bring it here. Go and check what happened in 1974 and 1977. There is something which was being said there. When you say pamberi nemushandi, there was a consequence there. And again, kana uchiti pasi nemabourgeoisie, that statement yanga ichiuraisa. Then touya ku 1979, ndosiya mubvunzo wekuti chakaita kuti titore political power isina economic control, taifunga kuti tiri kunosevha vanhu vedu sei. Mubvunzo iyi zvinhu izvozvo zviri zvitatu achinge andipindura ndinogona kumudavira. But kuti ndimupe a clear answer, we are not a defect of ZANU-PF. We are right on the neck of ZANU-PF. We don't want to see what is happening, because as of now, I'm so pity because he's focused on ZANU-PF. The political matrix of our country needs to be realigned. Our people are not getting service.
All right, let's
power or
okay, Mr. Stole, let me not digress. The question was, are you not part of ZANU-PF? Is there people inside ZANU-PF that are supporting you? That is the question. Can you maybe probably answer that? You are saying you are not part of ZANU-PF. We
are not part of ZANU-PF.
Okay, that is what I want.
We are not part of ZANU-PF.
All right, okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Thank you so much, Mr. Stole. Hopefully, we are going to have another conversation on this matter and deliberate on what your party is going to do in order to stop 2030. And hopefully, we are going to speak to your president and some of your presidium or the people that are leading your party. Thank you so much for coming to the show. I understand we had some glitches, but at least you managed to speak about the topical issue that is here today. That being said, thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you so much,
all right.
Thank you, viewers.
All right. That was Mr. Stole talking to us here on the line, speaking about what is happening with the 2030. And we are saying that the issue of 2030, it is something that needs to be stopped and that needs to be looked at by the general populace of Zimbabwe, because it will be a pure trepidation of our constitution. It will be a pure violation of our constitution. According to what legal expert Professor Love Momaduku said, that will be a coup if they succeed on doing it. And I said that the challenge that we have with ZANU-PF is they cannot comply with the law. They don't want to comply. But there's something that I wanted you to see before we close this broadcast that is very, very crucial to the subject that I was telling you about, which we are going to come and touch in detail. The issue of qualifications, people buying qualifications, very, very, very crucial. Issue of buying qualifications. There is something that Fadzai posted, and I want you to see. This is our minister now. This is now our Minister of Information and Publicity, Mr. Dr. Jen Muswere. But I want you to hear him when he was at the Global Summit in 2019. He was the Minister of ICT then. But let's us look here when he was asked to respond about issues to do with artificial intelligence. Let's just take a listen to what he says here. He is being asked a question on artificial intelligence, and listen to what he says in this interview. Very, very, very crucial. Please take a listen to what he says.
Tell me, what is the meaning of AI in terms of policy in Zimbabwe?
With respect to Zimbabwe, the explicit goals for ICT is with respect to the growth of the industry, number one. Number two is to ensure that we utilize ICT technologies for the transformation of our economic policies. And we also explicitly ensure that we take into consideration and we harness innovation. And we also take into consideration the inclusiveness. How do we use technology to bridge the rural-urban divide.
You gave a speech yesterday to the people at the various seminars here and about the advantages of AI. Tell me what they are.
The advantages of AI include the productivity, increased production, efficiency, effectiveness, transparency, and so forth.
And how do you see AI technology affecting developing countries when we were talking about the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals?
Artificial intelligence will also assist with regards to the fulfillment of a number of sustainable development goals, such as poverty, hunger, clean water, disaster management, industrialization, innovation, infrastructure, and so forth.
You come from a long way from Harare. What's your feelings, the outcome?
The summit provides an opportunity for developing and in developed countries to share one platform, to share experiences, to share knowledge. It also gives an opportunity to developing countries like Zimbabwe to harness investors, to harness high-tech companies, to bring investment to countries like Zimbabwe, because Zimbabwe is open for business.
All right. I'm no AI expert. I use AI in my work, but I want to leave you to judge. Do you think that is a competent response by the then ICT minister, Dr. Jane Van Muswere? I want to hear from you. I don't want to judge, but I want you to tell me what you think about that response by Jane Van Muswere when he was still the ICT minister. And I don't know. I know that, people, if you go on the tweet that was tweeted by Advocate Fadzai Mahere, you see what people are saying. Do you think that speaks of competency of an ICT minister? Maybe we can just make a comparison with the ICT minister for Rwanda at the World Economic Forum. And you tell me what you think about that, because it's really interesting. That tells you a lot of issues. Let us just listen to this lady. She's the minister of ICT in Rwanda. She was at the ICT, at the World Economic Forum. Just take a listen here, what she says here. She is the ICT minister for Rwanda. Take a listen. All right, just hold on here. All right, here we go. Listen to that.
Study to look at what would be the impact of AI in Rwanda. And what we're seeing is, and I think you talked about 0.8%, what we are seeing is even with basic use cases that we can deploy, we are seeing a potential to create at least 6% GDP contribution. And so we've been able to map out the different use cases. We talk about early warning, systems for farmers. Farmers make up the largest percentage of our population, and you see that trend similar across the continent. We're talking about public administration use cases, whether it's from taxes or the social security claims, and really being more efficient with how we're using some of these tools. And to your point, Vijay, this is definitely going to be a continuation over the already existing foundations that we've put in place in our digital transformation efforts. It also means that we're going to have to think differently on how we continue to close the gap on some of the digital aspects. So it's making sure that everyone is connected. Today we have about 93% population coverage, but we still have a gap on usage. And the usage gap is driven largely by digital skills, by access to affordable devices and affordable internet connectivity. But at the same time, we're also going to be combining those efforts with energy access. Rwanda today has 81% household access to electricity. Mm-hmm. But when we start to look at what these AI use cases that we're going to put in place, we start to anticipate what the demand is going to look like. And that has called for different ways on how we leverage that. And so for Rwanda, we're building on these foundations that are already in place, but at the same time, asking ourselves the question, how do we not lag far too behind on this AI journey?
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? That is the ICT minister for Rwanda. ICT minister for Rwanda. She has got all her details, well polished. And that puts a question on the credibility of some of these qualifications that our people or our people, high-ranking officials have. So we're going to do that. And please go and check out the documentary that was done by Maynard Manyowa. We dug up on his profile. Check out the people that are going to be exposed for their fake degrees and diplomas. That being said, it's me, JC. I'll see you on the next one as we look at developing stories in Zimbabwe. Bye for now.